Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. Here to do a couple items that I got in the mail today and yesterday. And I did find out the Deer Hunter's Anti-My helmet was released on July 1st. I pre-ordered, I don't remember when I pre-ordered, it was probably sometime in late May, early June, somewhere in that range. I pre-ordered both vinyl and CD. They received the vinyl. I know some people got their CDs that didn't buy the vinyl, but you can't get them both at the same. They weren't going to ship them both separately. The pre-order was merch now, which kind of a lesson. But anyway, that should be coming probably shortly, probably within the next week or two, or maybe even later this week. So that I got. Kimbra also is a piece of news. Her new album, it's not A Reckoning, I think it's called. Yeah, it's coming out in late January. She announced the tour dates, including February 21st in Minneapolis. Is a Tuesday night at the Fine Line. Kind of mixed feelings about that, but she played there a few years ago. Saw her there, and people were chatting it up and everything. But I got a table, thankfully, because the pre-sale was today. The artist, the venue pre-sale is tomorrow, and then the general sale is Friday. But it's funny how that works. Because I got on the mailing list and stuff like that. But how the tables, like for Mayor Hawthorne last year, about a year ago, we tried to buy tickets and we tried that evening and they were all gone on the table seats. So anyway, but I'm gonna move on to when I got in the mail. This last week, or the week before, like less than 2 weeks ago, Kevin Gilbert's estate on Facebook announced and social media that if people wanted to, they would release some a series of like archive on compact disc recordings. So, and I think I announced it in one of my videos recently. They released two of them, and these are the first two of. It's not going to be that many, I guess, but it could be. It's a series, so I don't know. There could be about 3, 4, 5 more series of releases, and these are basically live performances of a sort. There's N.R.G, which, this is released under N.R.G, under Kevin's name, or under the KMG, Kevin Matthew Gilbert's Archive Series. These are numbered 1 and 2. N.R.G live at Keystone, and from reading about this was in 1982, I think. Yeah, yep. 40 years. And then Kevin, I don't know the exact date on this. I don't know if it tells. I don't think it does tell the exact recording date. Recorded in 1982, but it doesn't say the exact date. So he was either 15 or 16 years old, because he was born in November of 66. So my guess he was about 15. And then N.R.G's Mickey Story with Kevin in 1986. This is known as Beer Jam 2. And I'll show the track list and the CD in just a minute. There's your track list. But, you just think about this, the N.R.G live at Keystone. They played live, but the N.R.G album, No Reasons Given, was not released until 1984. And Kevin was in high school at that point. It was like a high school accomplishment by his senior year. So, yeah, this was before these songs were recorded. The ones that are on here, there's stuff that is on here that are not on. There's a couple songs on here. That's kind of what one of the value. And I'll say I did not listen to this today. It's right up from Jason Hubbard. N.R.G, so really looking at that, is basically was 3 people, and then you had one other gentleman did vocals and stuff like that. But it was Kevin, obviously Gilbert, Mickey Story, Sorry, and Jason Hubbard. He's the guitarist. Mickey Story was the drummer. And Kevin played keyboards, obviously did a lot of the vocals and the guitar. And he was the youngest member, I guess, of the band, from what I remember. Talking about this on one of the podcasts. And I'm not sure the other guys were even in high school at that point. Maybe. No, but then there was Bob Carroll, who did vocals on this, and then he did vocals on the album. There are a bunch of other people that did stuff on the album. If if you look at the credits. But it's interesting that, of course, this has, and it's going to lead up to, or somehow in the frame, I mentioned in the last video that this is kind of the end game, as Bruno has said on the You Are Here podcast, for Kevin Gilbert's physical releases. But the final piece probably is going to be the multi-disc, The Shaming of the True. But you can see the picture from Shaming there. So, just to speak specifically about this one, the Live at Keystone, it's good, but it definitely has the fidelity of a bootleg, really. I don't know if this was like on the stage or where, it sounds like it's been remixed and polished up a bit. And you get the sort of banter a little bit here and there. And you get some of these songs that didn't end up on, even as bonus tracks on Spotify for, you have Wings of Time, because I don't believe Wings of Time was on N.R.G. Or, it's not so much N.R.G. I know the proper N.R.G. album, which is like 8 tracks or 9 tracks. Yeah, it's 9 tracks. But then all those extra, whatever it is, there's 15 tracks. Those extra 6 tracks I know, but I don't know. I mean, Suitcase Living was one that was later released, a version of that on one of the Call Me Kai records. But so you get Wings of Time, you get Crooked Mile, you get Tongue in Cheek. Those 3, I'm not certain if they morphed into anything else. I think those are all just songs that they never released, never recorded, or never released. That might show up at a later point. I don't know. I'm not assuming anything. But yeah, so this is N.R.G. Live at Keystone. It's fun. City on the Hill. I'm forgetting that. City on the Hill is the other one. So it's actually 4 tracks. The live version of City on the Hill. But I mean, there's a couple songs like, not Frame by Frame, but there's at least 1 or 2 tracks where Bob Carroll, I believe, is doing the lead vocals. It's not Kevin. One of the songs that we know, Schizophrenia, of course, was a song that's was on the download and then was on Spotify. Anyway, so now moving on to the second one, Beer Jam 2 with Mickey Sorry. This was in 1986, so this was a couple of years, almost, I don't know when in 86 this was done. That's why I was trying to look that up. So if Kevin was 15, likely 15, for the N.R.G. Live at Keystone. And the write-up, I didn't mention that. This write-up is from Jason Hubbard, talking about how young he was and everything. But the Beer Jam 2, he was like probably 19. I don't know when this was. Now, I forget the whole time frame exactly when he joined Eddie Money, but it was probably somewhere in that range. This is pre-Giraffe, knowing the timeline of Kevin's. But it was probably, he was with Eddie Money for a couple of years. I want to say this was probably after he had joined Eddie, but, he wasn't in the touring cycle at that point. I remember I was talking about that in one of the videos I did earlier this year. But anyway, I like this more. I'll probably get more replay value out of this for a couple reasons. One is there's a bunch of covers. So you look at the track list. It tells Sunnyvale, California. Number 2, it just sounds better, and Kevin sounds better. The recording's just better. And what this is similar to that Toy Matinee, like rehearsal acoustic thing. In some ways, they're not playing for anyone. They're just jamming in the studio, basically. It's just Kevin and Mickey, the drummer. Mickey, sorry. Kevin on the keyboards and piano, the piano and obviously doing the vocals. But so you get him doing Firth the Fifth, which is both kind of, it's not mistake-free, and Kevin would be probably his biggest critic and say, I did that terribly. But it's got a weird charm in that the arrangement is different because he's playing so fast. He doesn't know all the lyrics, which I wouldn't know them personally off the top of my head. I know a lot of them, but it still has its charm, and it's cool to hear him play different parts. He even does Steve Hackett's guitar solo on the keyboard or on the piano, which is an interesting approach, or it works kind of in a lot of ways. It does. And the UK suite, which of course I mentioned in a previous video, he sounds he's doing a little bit of an impression of John Wetton overtly. But it's pretty good, you know, and yeah, I mean, it's with Rendezvous, Danger Money, and Caesar's Palace Blues. So, you want to show up because you're hungry. You never stop wanting to eat. No, we're talking about Kevin Gilbert, the beer jam. What do you think? But, so, I don't know what exactly. This is 86, so he was probably doing Eddie Money, some of the soundtracks, some of the stuff that he did on the first couple of Call Me Kai discs. Yeah, that's mostly probably what he had been working on at that point. But, so he was revisiting songs they had recorded and played live a few years. N.R.G. was not a band anymore, but he obviously got back together. And I was wondering about his contact with Mickey Story to jam and whatever. I think it's got City on the Hill, Crooked Mile, and Schizophrenia. And the only thing she needs I like. I think that might be also a UK track, but I could be wrong. But the biggest gem on here, and I'm remiss to my memory of the way it sounds off of the N.R.G. recording, but Masks. I really like Crooked Mile too. I think it sounds great on here too. There are moments on that. It sounds very jazzy. Kind of heard like a Styx thing at 1.2, but like Blue Collar Man. But and Mephisto's Tarantula. But Masks, oh my god, that is an untapped opportunity. If they could have re-recorded that, oh my god, that would be fantastic. I want to listen to that many more times soon. That's an epic piece. I can't believe that I did heart it on Spotify, but I mean I probably have heard it less than 5 times. You know, I mean in the background or something, but of course it's got the same book and everything. So yeah, Masks. I mean, even though this is like the closest thing maybe we'll ever get to any kind of... I wonder if they demoed it. I think and at the very end of it, they're talking about how there was an extra verse that they didn't do. So it's sort of an unfinished piece, but my God. This is my favorite song we ever recorded. This is what Mickey Story said, next to Mephisto's Tarantula. I never got a chance to re-record the drums when it was left off the album. That's a crime against humanity, that track. Oh my god, oh man. Masks. So yeah, they're available in limited quantities, and I think they're available, you can also pay to buy them digitally, which is neat. I mean, if they run out of physical copies, hopefully they'll be available for people to at least hear that way until they're put up on social media. So, you know, I may buy a second copy. I know they were limited in one per person, limit one per person, but the point where they post something and say, you know, these are the last of them, come get them, I may have to snatch up a couple more. So, all right, the second item, like I mentioned, the Deer Hunter vinyl's coming, but I did finally get in the mail, I pre-ordered this, I want to say a couple months ago. Ooh, this is slick. I just opened it. I haven't looked at it. The the new Major Parkinson record, Valesa or Valisa? I think it's Valesa. Chapter 1, Velvet Prison. It's all glossy and everything like that. And I've listened to it, I don't know, about four to five times. I don't know how many times. I don't count them on times I listen to stuff generally, and I've seen mixed reviews. I mean, a lot of people are liking a lot of it. There's definitely some hardcore, longer time fans that are not loving it. At least initially they weren't. This is gold. It really is like a brownish gold. It's more... This isn't my official review, but I guess I don't know if I'm going to be doing a review video at this point based on time. It's more poppy electronic, I guess, in some ways. They did a different version of Jonah on here, and Jonah... People love the version of Jonah. I want to say it was just a single that was put up on Bandcamp, and it might have even been on the previous live album, not the most recent one, but the one that came out a couple years back. But I am liking this a fair amount, but I guess when I first heard the first few singles, including I should know off the top of my head, it's been a couple weeks since it came out the first week of October, so it's been about a month now. and the singles. I want to say not Jonah. Live Forever. Live Forever. Saturday Night. They're both pretty electronic pop, like synth poppy, and some of the female singer. I gotta mention a note about them in just a minute here. Also, it doesn't have the band. Yeah, there's all the lyrics on here. I like them. I think they work. I think them Major Parkinson doing kind of melodramatic or more cinematic pop actually is a thing that works on this for the most part. Let's see. What's this? Let's see here. Her name is Lynn Frockadal. She was on Black Box, the previous record. I don't know if she's been on all their records, but I think John Evar Colbolton. He sounds like this may be his best vocal album. He sounds really good at points, and he really extends himself at points. So I don't want to forget about this and have it drag on. Unfortunately, they made an announcement. They did some shows recently to album release supporting this. I don't know if it was in London. They're from Norway, I believe, but he unfortunately was it was a week ago Saturday. It wasn't this past Saturday. It was a week ago Saturday. Was whatever that date was. 29th, 22nd. Barely made it through that show, and he kind of collapsed afterwards. He had to be taken to the hospital, John, and he had a heart attack. And I mean, it happens. Mike Baker. I always do with singers. Mike Baker, Andre Matos passed away basically for that very reason. Jerry Gaskill had 2 heart attacks with King's X, and he's recovered thankfully. So I guess he's doing okay, getting through this. But it's a kind of a it's a cautionary sign or a precaution to take for any musician, anyone doing physical activity, to keep their body in shape and to not exert themselves. I know the performance he gave on this, and I'm pretty sure live probably could have contributed. I don't know. I don't know how old he is. I mean, they've been around for over 10 years. Their first album came out in the late 2000s, like 2008, 2009. So he's probably in his early 40s, but I hope he gets better. I mean, I think he is. That's what they posted the picture. He was reading some comic books in the hospital, but But yeah, I mean, this record, I enjoy. It's a pretty. I don't say it's a lengthy album. To me, there's a couple tracks at the end here. Fantasia Me Now, and that kind of the melodramatic cheesiness got to me a little bit, and so I would when seeing their albums that were to come out the rest of the year back in September, late September, and I knew this was coming. This was like my earmarked. This was 1A, 1B, 1C, like the Dirt Poor Robbins album is the other one, and I was like, this is hopefully the record that can kind of come in here and make ruffle the feathers and get into the fight for one of my favorite records of the year, if not my favorite. I'm not sure. I should go back to it. It has a little more meaning now, knowing that the singer is going through what he's going through. But I think you read the comments and the reviews, and then you got to kind of take them with a grain of salt. It's definitely their most poppy in some ways, but it's epic in some ways. The songs that have the synths and face of the synths, there's some auto tune. That was one of the criticisms, but the auto tune isn't excessive. But it's maybe not as proggy as some of the records, but in some ways it's like this concept, and it's part 1, chapter 1 rather, the Velvet Prison. So Valesich, there can be so it's conceptual in the sense it's going to be a series of us, another album or 2, who knows. So, but my friend Sandra Kolokol, whatever his name is, he's the singer and guitarist, I think, for Moron Police. Also, he's in the band Major Parkinson. He lost his drummer last year. I was just thinking this would be awful if he was in another band, another band member. Now, the drummer Thor from Moron Police was a longtime friend of his, I guess, and bandmate. But anyway, so that's kind of an update on the collection. I'm gonna do one more video, of course, today. But check out the Kevin Gilbert stuff if you haven't got the chance. If you enjoy the N.R.G. and you enjoy Genesis in UK, it's worth hearing. And if you checked out Major Parkinson's new album, if you did order on vinyl, hopefully it's coming to your mailbox soon. But Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thank you for subscribing if you did recently. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.